Hello guys, so in our last video of life process we discussed about respiration and its types. So in today's video we are going to learn about transportation in humans and transportation in plants. As we know, it is the essential part of life process. So watch the complete video, share it with your friends and subscribe the channel. You can also visit our website newerasolution.in for further study materials. As we know, every living body is made up of cells and each cell required energy for its living. So the food we obtain from nutrition, which is converted into energy by respiration, now that energy have to be transported to each part of the body or cells. That process is known as transportation. So in human beings, plants and animals, there are various methods which is used to transport that energy into the organs. If we talk about the transportation in humans, then there is a circulatory system which is used to transport various components in the human body. That circulatory system consists blood, lymph, heart, etc. So in human circulatory system, let's discuss about blood. So blood is the most important part of circulatory system which help to carry various components from heart to organ and organ to heart. Blood is a reddish color fluid which is present in 5.5 to 6 liter amount in normal human beings. The blood consists three main parts known as plasma, blood cells and blood platelets. The major part of blood is plasma and blood cells and platelets are dipped in the blood plasma. So plasma is the main fluid component of blood which consists 90% of water and other substance like protein, fats, inorganic salts, etc. The other component of blood like RBC, WBC and platelets float in plasma and serum is also obtained from plasma. If we talk about the blood cells, then there are two blood cells known as RBC and WBC. RBC stand for red blood cells which is also known as erythrocytes. These are disc-shaped blood cells without the nucleus. In 1 ml of blood, there are 5.5 millions of RBC are present. RBC help the blood to carry oxygen to the various part of body. The red color of red blood cells is due to the hemoglobin present in it, and in the absence or deficiency of hemoglobin, a person can suffer from the disease called anemia. If we talk about WBC, which stand for white blood cells or leukocyte, these are irregular shaped nucleated cells which are bigger in size as compared to RBC. In 1 ml of blood, there are 5,000 to 10,000 WBC are present, and in total there are about 75 millions of WBC present in human body. The white blood cells help to increase the immunity of the body and help it to fight against the disease. The next component of blood is blood platelets, which is also known as thrombocytes. So these are small in size and present without nucleus. In 1 ml of blood, there are 0.15 million to 0.45 million blood platelets are present. The lifespan of blood platelets are 1 week. These platelets help to form the clot during the injury so that it can prevent the excess flow of blood through the body. Now let's discuss the various functions performed by blood. So blood helps to transport hormones from their site of secretion to their site of action. It also helps to maintain the temperature, pH level, water level in the body. Next function of blood is to carry oxygen from lungs to organs and carry carbon dioxide from organs to lungs. Blood also helps to transport the nutrients like amino acid, protein, carbohydrate to the tissues. It also helps to transport the waste material to the excretory system. Next function of blood is to form the blood clots during the injury, and blood also helps to prevent against disease by providing the immunity to the body. In human body, blood is not directly connected to the tissues or organ. It flows in some tubes. These tubes are known as blood vessels. So there are three types of blood vessels present in human body, known as arteries, veins and blood capillaries. Arteries are thick-walled blood vessels which carry oxygenated blood from heart to the organs. They do not have wall, and the pressure of blood flowing through artery is very high. The only artery which carry deoxygenated blood is known as pulmonary arteries. Next is veins. These are thin-walled blood vessels which carry deoxygenated blood from organs to the heart, and the pressure of blood flowing through the veins is low. These blood vessels have valves which help to prevent the backward flow of deoxygenated blood. Then the only veins which carry oxygenated blood is known as pulmonary veins. The third type of blood vessels known as blood capillaries. These are narrow, thin-walled blood vessels which is large number in size and present between artery and veins. These blood vessels help in the exchange of gases, nutrients and excretory waste between organs and blood vessels. They carry oxygen and essential component from blood and supply them to the organs, and they carry carbon dioxide and excretory waste from the organs and pour it into the blood vessels so they can excrete easily. Now let's discuss about the blood pressure. Aorta is the biggest artery which carry oxygenated blood from heart to the organ with high pressure. So the pressure of blood flow on the aorta artery is known as blood pressure. It can be measured on the contraction and relaxation time. So during the contraction, the pressure exerted by blood is known as systolic pressure. So in normal human body, the systolic pressure is 120 mm of mercury, and the pressure exerted by blood during the relaxation time is known as diastolic pressure, and normal diastolic pressure have to be 80 mm of mercury. The blood pressure is measured with the help of sphygmomanometer. So if in a human body systolic pressure is more than 120 mm of mercury and diastolic pressure is more than 80 mm of mercury, then the person suffer from high BP. And if the systolic pressure is lower than 120 mm and diastolic pressure is lower than 80 mm of mercury, then the person suffer from low BP problem. Lymph is also an essential component of circulatory system. It is pale yellow color fluid which is similar to blood. It contains plasma, inorganic salt, protein, lipids, etc. But RBC is absent in lymph, which is present in blood. That's why lymph is pale yellow color fluid. It is in the direct contact of tissues and help in the exchange of various components between organs and blood with the help of blood capillaries. Lymph performed various functions in human body. It helped to supply oxygen and food component from blood to the tissues with the help of blood capillaries. It also helps to supply excretory waste like nitrogenous component and carbon dioxide from organs to the veins with the help of blood capillaries. And it also helps to provide immunity to the body. Heart is the most important organ of circulatory system which helps to transport the blood throughout the body. It is a muscular organ composed by cardiac muscle having triangular shape present near thoracic cavity in between the lungs above diaphragm. It is slightly tilted towards the left side. Human heart is divided into two parts, left and right, which are separated by a partition called septum. Each part of heart have two chambers known as atrium and ventricles. Therefore, there are four chambers in human heart, the above chamber known as atrium and the lower chamber known as ventricles. So, in each part of heart, atrium and ventricles have wall in between them, so there is only one way of flow of blood. The deoxygenated or impure blood collected by all the veins from the organs of body is entered into the heart with the help of largest vein called vena cava. This impure blood first enter in right auricles or atrium, then it reach to right ventricles with the help of tricuspid wall present between them. When these chambers are filled, the blood which is deoxygenated moves to the lungs with the help of pulmonary arteries which carry deoxygenated blood from the right ventricles to the lungs. In lungs, when the exchange of gases take place and the deoxygenated blood is filled with oxygen, and that oxygenated blood enter into the heart again in left part with the help of pulmonary veins which carry oxygenated blood from lungs to left auricles. From the left auricles, the blood reach to left ventricles with the help of bicuspid wall, and when the left part of heart filled with oxygenated blood, then it is pumped to the largest arteries called aorta which carry the blood towards the organs. So if you observed in a complete cycle, a blood flows through heart twice, once when it is in deoxygenated form and moves to the lungs, and then again when it filled with oxygen and become oxygenated blood and again reach to left part of heart. So this circulation of blood is known as double circulation because blood flow the heart twice in impure and in pure form. Now let's discuss the transportation in plants. So in plants there is no circulatory system as human. In plants there are vascular tissue which are responsible for the transportation of food, minerals and water. These vascular tissues are known as xylem and phloem. In plants, water and mineral transported with the help of xylem vessel which consists trachyte, xylem vessel, xylem fiber and xylem parenchyma, in which trachytes and xylem vessels are the conducting elements. There are two main phenomena which are responsible for the transportation of water and mineral inside the plants, that is root pressure and suction pressure. In root of the plant, due to concentration difference between the ionic substance, water is entered from soil to the root through root hairs by osmotic process. The osmotic pressure created in root is known as root pressure, which is responsible for the upward movement of water towards the base of stem. At the stem of plant, water rays upward due to capillarity movement inside the capillaries present in stem of plant. As we know, the water is released by the stomata present in the leaves of plant. Due to the loss of water, there is a gap created in the leaves which create a pressure called suction pressure. Due to this suction pressure, the water present in the stem of plant raised upward and reach to each part of plant. Hence, we observe that the transportation of water and mineral is a unidirectional process which started from the root and reached to the top of plant. This upward movement of water and mineral in plant from root to top is known as ascent of sap. In plants, food is transported with the help of phloem vessels. Phloem vessel consists of companion cell, sieve tubes, phloem parenchyma and bast fiber, where the sieve tubes behave as the conducting elements. As we know, plants produce their food with the photosynthesis, and that food is stored inside the green leaves of plant, from where the sieve tubes carry the food particle, and due to concentration difference, the water also move inside the sieve tubes by osmotic process. From there, that food is conducted all over the plant through sieve tubes and capillaries and reach to each part of plant. Therefore, the movement of food in plant is multi-directional process because it moves from leaves to top or bottom of plant. I hope today's topic clear to you. If you have any doubt, you can write in comment box, email us, or you can also visit our website newerasolution.in. Till then, study hard, subscribe the channel and share the video.